In the village of Jonpur, there lived a farmer named Hiralal. He was a hardworking man, but he lived by a single, inflexible rule. He would not eat anything except eggs. This wasn't a choice shared by his family. His wife Asha spent every day preparing omelets and curries while urging him to eat the chicken, fish, or mutton the rest of the village enjoyed. Hilal's reasoning was purely practical. Meat was expensive and took time to cook. Eggs were cheap and fast. He had no interest in the effort or cost required for a more varied life. His entire worldview was dictated by this narrow focus on immediate personal convenience, leaving him completely indifferent to the world outside his own kitchen. Then the rain stopped. A severe drought took hold of Jonpur, and the village's source of life, the crops, began crumbling into the dry earth. The situation turned critical as the wells dried up, and the livestock began to die. The community was facing a total collapse of its food and water supply. But while his neighbors scrambled to find water, Hilal's only concern was the market. The lack of grain meant the supply of eggs had dropped, and he was terrified of losing his one daily comfort. It was a dangerous disconnect. While the village faced an existential crisis, its individuals remained focused on their own minor inconveniences. One afternoon, while Hiralal was plowing a field so dry it had turned to stone, his blade struck a hard object. He dug it out to find a large golden pot buried in the dirt. When the pot accidentally slipped and shattered, a blinding light filled the field, and a goddess emerged from the broken shards. She had been trapped by a curse, and as a reward for her freedom, she offered Hiralal a wish. Whatever he asked for, she promised, would rain down from the sky upon the village. The goddess had effectively handed a man who couldn't see past his own dinner plate the power to dictate the survival of everyone around him. Hiralal didn't think about the dry wells or the dying cattle. He looked at the sky and asked for exactly what he had been missing, a rain of ordinary eggs. Almost instantly, eggs began plummeting from the clouds, smashing violently against the hard, parched ground. The villagers, who were desperate for water, watched in confusion and fear as their homes were pelted with food they couldn't even use. Asha was horrified. She confronted Hiralal, pointing out the absurdity of his choice. A mountain of eggs would not stop the village from dying of thirst. It was a clear demonstration that a personal solution, no matter how plentiful, cannot solve a shared, systemic disaster. Realizing he had wasted the opportunity, Hiralal tried again. This time, he decided to be practical through greed, asking the goddess for a rain of golden eggs. Gold blanketed the village. Hiralal gathered as much as he could carry and rushed to the local goldsmith, certain that his new wealth would solve all his problems. But the goldsmith refused to buy them. Because the entire village was now covered in gold, the local supply had skyrocketed, making the metal essentially worthless in Jonpur. This was the economic reality of their crisis. Wealth is an illusion if it has no utility. You can hold all the gold in the world, but if there is no water to drink, you are still poor. The village was now filled with literal treasure, yet the landscape remained dead and the people were still suffering. Looking at the piles of useless gold, Hiralal finally saw the cost of his isolation. He had spent his divine blessing trying to satisfy his own needs while the world around him withered. He realized that his own happiness was tied to the health of the community. If the village died, no amount of gold could keep him safe. Hiralal looked to the sky a final time. He did not ask for a commodity or a currency. He asked for life-giving rain to fill the communal ponds and wells. Within moments, a heavy downpour began. Real water hit the cracked earth, rapidly filling the dry trenches and wells with a rushing, clear current. As the rivers filled and the trees began to blossom again, the village returned to life. The crisis ended not through gold, but through a shared resource. The lesson was simple. We only truly secure our own prosperity when we look past our own convenience and act for the welfare of everyone around us.